Hello, this is the Franchise Tag Podcast Talk Show, Week 6 by your host, Freddie Hall. Welcome back, Adam Martin. And joining us, Andrew Manning of the College and Betting Show as well, the one he does with Adam on Saturday, the Betting, and the College Show with Alex. Fantastic to see you. Just as we went to go on camera, Adam went, what could go wrong? And literally, I took a sip of my water and spilt it down me. So that's what could go wrong in the podcast world.
That's the fun. That's the fun of it. It's all good.
Do you want me to spill something down me just so it's all square, Fred?
I would like you both to spill something down you. Yeah, I think that's the only fair way that we all are thoroughly wet, I suppose, for this podcast. Just like we make all of you at home. Welcome to the Franchise Tag. This is week 6. We have just off the back of the second Tottenham Hotspur game in London, and I'm not going to lie, it was a pretty poor, dire game. But weirdly, one of the most fun games I've been to in terms of what we got up to and stuff like that. Weirdly getting great friends with F.A. Abada. I don't even know if he knows my name, but I consider him now a close friend. Could well be the best man at my wedding. I've not asked him yet, but we shall see. And we got to meet Micah Richards on the sideline, which was really cool. That was good fun. He was very, very nice, very polite, and always up for a chat. He seemed to be dotting around everywhere, which was cool. But yeah, it was a fantastic time. On to Wembley, of which us three will not be attending as media. We'll be attending as fans, which I cannot wait to do because it's been a while since I've been to a game as a fan rather than media, even though it's a massive privilege to be able to do the media stuff. However, we will have representatives there, so make sure you check us out. And thank you for all the support for our videos and our podcasts and on our socials. Let's begin this evening, however, with the tragic news in Tennessee of their head coach, Brian Callahan, has been fired 6 games in after losing 20-10 against the Las Vegas Raiders over the weekend. They're now 1-5 on the season, bottom of their division. Adam, I mean, 31st in offense, 31st passing offense, 30th in rushing offense, 27th best defense. It's been very poor this last 2 years from Brian Callahan. I wouldn't say it was probably the first one that we thought was going to happen, but it was definitely on the cards.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that it was on the cards that he struggled and that they haven't been great. The only thing that I would come out and say is that I don't believe that it's all his fault. I think it's a poor organisation making poor decisions again, which is, it's becoming a bit of a common theme for me to say every week that we do this show.
They've not been a poor organisation for, when they had Vrabel, they were very highly, people thought high of them as an organisation. It's only since.
So why did they get rid of him?
Well, yeah, that
so that's a poor organisation decision.
It's not like a Jets or a Panthers or like they're just or Browns, which are just notoriously bad. They sacked someone that was good, brought him in, and then it fell apart, right?
I think they're very, very happy to fire people very quickly, and that's the ownership. That's I'm not talking about there's general managers as well. General managers out there have been fired incredibly quickly. Again, it feels like Brian Callahan has been fired incredibly quickly. I would come out and say, who on this team do you want? Like, who do you want at the Giants? Who do you want at the Steelers? Because there ain't many that I want at the Packers.
Can I with that before Andrew answers that question? Because when you talk about this roster, that is something that I went and took a look. Because I was thinking, well, they're a bit devoid of talent. They're not been good. He had an awful season in 2024 as well in terms of. They were 3-14, obviously got that number 1 draft pick to be able to draft Cam Ward. And then I looked at their roster and was like, hang on a minute, let's hold the phone a minute here. A lot of these guys are draft picks of recent time. They've invested money in people like L'Jarius Sneed, Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard. They've changed a lot of their roster. They brought them guys in. Yeah, you might not say, oh, they're guys I definitely want on my team. But it's not like they've not got out the checkbook. It's not like they've been aggressive within the trade market and within the drafting as well. So to sort of add fuel to the fire of Andrew's response to this, I suppose.
Do you want Dan Moore back?
But they spent money. Everyone knew that.
I know they've spent money, but that doesn't mean they've spent it on good players. That just means they've spent money.
But L'Jarius Sneed, good players, Seb Joseph Day, Calvin Ridley. They've invested huge amounts of draft picks in the O-line. They've they've put their new head coach in Brian Callahan, who became new head coach in 2024 after being the Bengals OC. I do feel like they set him up with a fairly okay team to kick on to his career. And yes, the quarterback, Will Levis, that obviously didn't work. Not the right decision with that. And then they brought in Cam Ward. We've talked a lot on this podcast about development of quarterbacks this season, and the quarterbacks that we thought were poor and now been fantastic, like Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. And we do have to give Cam Ward time. I do believe that. But I don't think you can say this squad is devoid of talent.
No, it's always had a decent defense as well, hasn't it? You know, the defense has always been good. And when you look at the likes of what Cohen's doing at the Jags and what Canales is doing at the Panthers, like they've had the same sort of like time period as what Callahan's had, and managed to turn it around and look like better organizations. This is just looking really bad every week. It's not looking good, is it? Like there's teams like the Saints, you know, when you watch them play at the weekend, they look like they're playing hard and playing, you know, some good football, but not getting the results because they're not quite good enough. You look at like the Giants, if you want to put them in there, all these teams, they're playing hard. They're not winning games, but when you see them out there, you see them putting their effort in and trying. The Titans just look awful, and that's got to come from the head coach.
I think your biggest thing with this, Adam, is obviously the Cam Ward situation in terms of like you've got a new quarterback, and what precedent does this set? You know, new head coach comes in, doesn't want Cam Ward, isn't his style of quarterback, reset again at the quarterback position for the third time in 4 years, pretty much. I have a post from the Post, a article from the New York Post. Apologies, I didn't get the person who wrote this article, but it says Chad Brinker kept going back to one central theme while explaining why the Titans became the first team to fire a coach in this 2025 season. Chad Brinker isn't the owner either, just to put it on there, which people have said is notably weird. I assume Chad Brinker's the GM. Am I right in that?
No, it's the guy who was at Kansas City, isn't it? As the GM, Mike Borgazzi. Yeah.
Well, Chad Brinker isn't the owner from what I've seen anyway. He said, "We felt like this was the right time to make a change. Tennessee's president of football operations." I should have just read the article, then I'd known exactly who he is. Said Monday after asking Brian Callahan, "We were looking for growth in this football team, and that's what this is about right now. Is we're not seeing enough growth from this football team. With 1-5, we've got to be better in this." Now, I draw from that one. Yes, it needs to be better. No, I don't think they've progressed. You can see that from season on season. That is a head coaching thing. But we've got to be better than this. I don't think you get better from this. What positive is your interim head coach going to spark a revolution within this locker room, within this team? That's surely not going to happen.
No. I agree. I know it won't. It's not going to do anything. I don't understand the point. You're going to screw up your rookie quarterback, because this always happens. There's the odd 1 or 2 occasions it doesn't, but more often than not, you're going to screw up the rookie quarterback. Well,
it's going around on social media currently, isn't it? That the last 4 first-round picks of their head coach has been fired in the first season of having them, which is mental.
Why was he there? Why was he allowed to come back for this season? That's what gets me. I think I'm sorry, when you have a rookie quarterback, when you've got the number 1 pick and you know you're going for a quarterback, you have 2 options. You keep the head coach and you stick with him because you know that he's worth sticking with, or you get rid of him and you bring in a guy who is happy to have the rookie quarterback that you want to go for. Is what one or the other. Otherwise, you are screwing up your biggest asset on that team.
I suppose your other argument to that is getting the right coach for the young quarterback can have great impact, can't it? You know, we're seeing Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield all playing well under good coaching. So I suppose
But
that's the argument to be had, isn't it?
in their rookie year they weren't.
True.
I think when Andrew said them coaches a moment ago, what is noted about them, even though the teams aren't doing so well, is there's an identity there, and there's a culture that it might not be the right culture, but there is a culture. I don't see what culture Callahan has created. I don't see what's their identity. Under Vrabel, they ran the ball, run first, got rid of AJ Brown, said we don't do receivers, we just run the ball, and had good, hard, solid defense. What's the identity with this team? The wide receivers, Calvin Ridley, I don't think he's a bad player, but he's past his best. Elik Ayamana is looking very good, admittedly, but he has been drafted this offseason. Tony Pollard come in, and we always said, even at Dallas, we were like, he's a number 2. And then you look at the defense, and yeah, they brought some names on paper here, it feels like, but there's no inspiration here. Is that lie just solely in Brian Callahan, Andrew, or is that also his coaching as well, the ethos of what his coaches bring?
Yeah, it's down to his ethos. It's his locker room. It's, they're being called out as well. I think the young rookie quarterback on the podium is saying this team is ass. That doesn't bode well for a rookie quarterback head coach relationship. There's obviously some. He's lost the locker room, or had lost the locker room as well, if players are saying that on the podium. So it was his ethos, I reckon, that's not projecting through the team. They need some stability. I've got a name in mind as well who I think they should go after to get culture and stability as well.
Go ahead. Who do you think that?
I think it's Mike McCarthy. I think that's the guy that they need to go after. We've seen what he's done. He's an old veteran guy. His offenses have been good where he's been, and he can provide stability for them, even if he can't push them on to win a Super Bowl. That's not what they're after. They're after stability, and I feel like he's done that where he's been.
I mean, what about Penn State head coach who's just been fired?
Well,
James Franklin.
He's just been fired, so that's not a good.
I'm just saying. I mean, or you could look at maybe that head coach at the University of North Carolina, who people are sort of looking at as well, maybe, or maybe Urban Meyer, maybe brings a callback.
But do you not like Cam Ward? What's the problem?
all three of them bring a culture. That's all I'm saying. They all bring a culture. The only defending thing I think I can give them this is if you look at their schedule so far this season. They open up at Denver. They host the Rams. They host the Colts. They're at the Texans. They're at the Cardinals. They're at the Raiders. They are then going to host the Patriots, at the Colts, and host the Chargers before their bye week. I think we can safely say before the season even starts, there was going to be 4 losses. That we can safely say that. I think Broncos, we knew they'd lose to them. The Rams, we knew to lose to them. I think we would have debated the Colts game between the three of us at the time before the season, but now we know what the Colts are. Texans, I think we said there would have been a loss. Cardinals, I think we would have debated that as well. And I think we would have probably said the Raiders would have beat them with their new setup of going on. So I don't. 1-5 to me is not like a surprising record if I'd looked at the schedule at the start of the season. I think we did. And then after the bye week, Texans, the Seahawks, the Jags, the Browns, the 49ers, the Chiefs, the Saints, the Jags. I mean, they're not going to win a game into their bye week. They're not going to beat the Patriots, the Colts, or the Chargers in my book. You get after that, the Texans, we'd have said they'd lost to the Texans probably again, or maybe we won that one. The Seahawks, we would have said they'd lost to them. The Jags, I think we would have debated that. The Browns, we would have probably said the Titans would have won that, I think. We'd have said they lost to the 49ers. The Chiefs, we'd have said they'd beat the Saints. And then the Jags, we'd probably said split the difference, maybe. Even from that schedule and looking at the roster at the start of the season and everything like that, even with Cam Ward, this was never going to be a winning season. Like, I don't know who people... Am I being ridiculous in that notion, Adam?
No, not at all. I said at the beginning of the season, when I wrote about them, I came out and said if they win 6 games this season, then Cam Ward is it. He is the guy for them, and they have something to build on. But 6 games was like the top of the top kind of thing. That was like excellent. So that tells you all you needed to know. about what kind of situation that this was in. So no, you're not being ridiculous about it. And I just think I don't see the point of firing the guy at week 6. That's the problem. That's where it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You either get rid of him before you start and have a brand new start, or you got to stick with him. You got to go, this is the guy that we want and we got to keep him. Now, okay, you might have a thing where there's a lack of culture. You might have this thing where it's just not, it feels like it's not working. But you can't keep changing. If you just keep on changing, it never works. We've seen it so many times with these organisations. They keep changing and they don't go anywhere. And also, as I said at the beginning, this isn't all on him. This is about the general managers as well. It's about you say they spent loads of money, but who have they spent it on? I don't want any of them. Who do you, as I said at the beginning, who do you want?
I'm sorry. When they signed L'Jarius Sneed, we said that was a.
But do you want him on your team now? When you look at him this season,
now, I admit.
for the whole of this season, do you want him?
But Sneed was a coup to get in. Look how amazing it was for the Chiefs.
But it's that thing, isn't it? It's that same old story that you get where you have these sort of you have these veterans who go for money to poor teams and it doesn't work. And it's almost like, not that they've given up, but it's like they're just not as good as what they were. And I just look at this roster, I sort of think Jeffrey Simmons maybe could do a job. I think he would be okay.
He's playing well as well.
So I think he's got something about him. Possibly Cody Barton, I think you could argue has done okay. I don't want any of the rest of the defense. And then I think Peter Skoronski is a solid lineman. I think he's all right. And I mean, JC Latham should be better than what he's doing, but he was getting beaten like anything by Max Crosby. And it's just like,
but to be fair, everyone gets beaten by Max Crosby.
Yeah, I know.
You can't split it in for that one.
But I just look at it and I go, you yourself come out and go, Tony Pollard, we think he's a running back too. Well, you don't want him as your number 1 then. This is the problem. I think the players that have been brought in and the players that have been drafted, and maybe you've got a mixture of young guys who need time, and then the older veterans. I think a lot of them have gone for a payday.
Well, if anyone wants to give us a payday at the Tennessee Titans, we'll be. You can knock on our door anytime. All 3 of us. It's absolutely fine by us. We'll be back after this short message from today's sponsor. Have you ever dreamed of managing your favorite pro football team? Do you watch your team and think the GM got it wrong again? Do you think you could do better? Here's your chance to prove it. Introducing Ultra GM, a revolutionary new take on fantasy football that makes you the general manager of your favorite team. Start with the team's full roster and build it through the draft, free agency, trades, and even the practice squad to create your ideal team. No fantasy football platform or GM simulator has ever provided the degree of realism and engagement that Ultra GM offers. And none has ever given you the opportunity to manage the team that you love and care for most. Compete against family, friends, and even your team's real GM to see who is the Ultra GM. You think you can do better than your team's GM? Visit ultragm.com to prove it. We're going to stick on the topic of head coaches. And I've got a little bit of a game. We don't have to be like, a little game for you both, we're just like Channel 5 over here. Only I'm not paying for either of you to go to American City. That's the only thing.
What?
There's no prize at the end of this, I'm afraid. But the prize is pride, In fact, there's not even a prize. I don't know why I said there was a prize. I'm sorry. It's just not in the budget right now. But if you subscribe to Ultra GM using our code franchise tag, we may have enough money to give out prizes. You never know. I have a list of all the coaches that have currently got a losing record. And I'd probably say hot seat and safe space, I suppose. Should we call it that? Hot seat, safe space. That's a nice little ring to it, I think. So I'm going to list them. and I will go Andrew, then Adam, vice versa. We can get each other's opinion if you want to jump in on it as well. That's fine. It would be great if one of you was AFC and NFC, but you both support NFC teams, so we're just going to go through it as I've listed it. So, Andrew, we'll start with you. The Cleveland Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski, currently 1-5. Hot seat or safe space?
I think he's probably on the hot seat. He shouldn't be because of what he's achieved while he's been there. You know, he's won Coach of the Year twice, hasn't he? But I think the general manager, the owner, should I say, wants Shador in. And if he wants Shador in at quarterback, he's going to have to get rid of his head coach. So I think he might be forced out because he has a different vision to the owner. So that might put him on the hot seat right there, unless he puts Shador in, because that's the guy that Haslam wanted, wasn't it?
On the flip side of what we were just talking about, Callahan goes out of Tennessee. Sorry, Stefanski gets out of Browns and then goes straight to Tennessee. Maybe that could be definitely an interesting one. Adam, do you concur?
Yeah, I kind of do. I don't think he will go anywhere though, because I think he will come to the realization that Dylan Gabriel is a bit rubbish. And we saw that, didn't we? We saw that he wasn't very good and that there's only so much he can do. So I think he'll come to that realization pretty quickly.
Their defense is really good as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where are they ranked in defense? So they're near the top, aren't they?
Oh,
they must be pretty.
I think they were like one of the top ranked defenses and the worst offenses. I think they were like.
I will have a look at that. I mean, he is a culture setter. I think so. I think he's a really good coach. Like you said, he's won Coach of the Year twice, like you referred to, and it's just such a bad organization, isn't it? It's just such a bad organization, and the defense as well. We talked about devoid of talent a minute ago. They are currently the 22nd ranked defense.
I thought they were higher than that. I thought they were a lot higher than that.
One behind one's New York Giants.
I think they've been on the field a lot, haven't they?
I mean, yeah, it doesn't help. And they didn't play well against the Steelers either, I suppose.
No.
Adam.
Yes.
The New York Jets, Aaron Glenn, currently 0-6. Hot seat, safe space.
Safe space. He's only been there for 6 games, for crying out loud. Justin Fields just holds onto the ball forever.
It's very interesting that all the coaches we're going to go through, everyone's saying about Aaron Glenn, but Dan Campbell didn't win any games in his first season. Like, well,
leave him there.
He worked for Dan Campbell doesn't mean he is Dan Campbell. Like, come on.
No, but you have to give him time. And the problem is like the quarterback is not great. The O-line has not been fantastic. So, there are reasons that this has happened. And I just think, I know a lot of people are going to say the defense should be better, but I thought the defense did really well against the Broncos. I mean, you were there, and
they made Bo look superbly average.
Exactly. So I thought they did pretty well. So I know they've struggled at the beginning, but they look pretty well. And yeah, keep him there. It's mental to get rid of him this early.
Mental, Andrew, or?
Oh, I'm not sure it's mental. I understand where Adam's coming from. This isn't really long enough for him to sort of set the tone, but he's a defensive, like-minded head coach, and their defense has been really, really bad. He's a secondary guy, and the secondary has been probably the worst bit about them. Some of the play calling as well as a head coach, the debacle with the fake punt and then running and letting the clock turn out. And
mate.
I'm worried he's a Freddie Kitchens, and it's just, this is too overwhelming for him, and this isn't the right. But
if we keep him in, they might go 0-70.
Yeah, maybe.
It could happen.
That would be fun.
Don't take this away from us.
I also don't think they're using Justin Fields correctly. I think he doesn't know how to use him.
All he needs to do is learn how to throw the ball. What is it with you? Hang on a minute. I know we're going off topic here. What is it with you and quarterbacks that can't throw the ball away? If it isn't him, it's bloody Sanders. It's always the same thing with you.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying like, if they use him correctly, they're going to be amazing. I'm just saying, stop, Get him out of the pocket. He's doing like 7-step drop back passes. That's not his game. Like, just get him out, get him moving, get him throwing the ball, run him if you want. He can run the ball. And they're not doing that with him. And I think that stems from the head coach not picking the right team around him. So maybe Aaron Glenn needs to have a shuffle with his coaching staff, maybe. And I agree with Adam that this isn't enough games, but it looks too much of a big job for him. I'm worried that this is one step too far, and he's out of his depth.
Two bad franchises straight off the bat. We'll go into a third one with you, Andrew. Miami, Mike McDaniel, currently 1-5. Hot seat, safe space.
It's got to be the hot seat. I'm not sure how he's still got a job. I'm not sure how did.
I'm shocked he wasn't the first one.
Yeah, how was he not the first? And why was he still the coach going into this year? That is also a shock for me. Don't think he'll be on the market too long once he gets sacked. I think Philadelphia Eagles might be giving him a call, and I think they're waiting for him to become available so he can be their offensive coordinator. Because I do think he's good at that. I think he's a good offensive coordinator, and I just don't think he's not built like a head coach, is he? He's not.
He's only little. Leave him alone.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. He's not a big alpha.
If he went to the coach combine, he'd be a 7th-round pick. Let's be honest. He wouldn't be. You
put him up against Dan Campbell, like in a room. Who are you listening to? I think he's just there's a lack of respect. We know that. You've got Tua again, another guy calling them out at the podium. There's people not been turning up to meetings, training sessions. We've had that with the veterans last year. I just don't think he commands a room as a head coach. I think he's a coordinator, isn't he?
I would usually go, Adam, what do you think? But I know Adam completely echoes your thoughts, so I'm just going to move on straight away. Because this one might be interesting for him. Baltimore Ravens, John Harbaugh, currently 1-5.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, this one, isn't it? He's been it is a difficult one. He's been there for a long time, and that defense is really struggling. I think there's a lot of this can be done on injuries. So I think because of that, it's worth him staying and keeping going here. I actually think that they probably need to change their defensive coordinator, is what I would say. Rather than him. I don't feel like the defense has done very well over the last couple of years with, I've forgotten his name, it's something Orr. Is it Zach Orr?
Michael.
It's not Michael Orr. Michael Orr's the guy from Blindside.
It must be Zach Orr.
Is it Zach Orr? I think it is. They've struggled under him, the defense, over the last couple of years, and that's the big problem. But yeah, a lot of this is on injuries, so it is harsh. He's been a really good coach for a long time, so I'd say you keep him. And I think that once Lamar is back, they'll be a lot better.
It is Zach Orr.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely not Michael O'Hare. Andrew, what do you think on that? You seem like you were like, no, he needs to go.
Who you think he should go?
It sounded like you thought that maybe he should be going.
No. This is an easy stick with him. Let him have a down season. It's not a problem. He's had injuries. Like Adam said, they had. I always say his name wrong. I'm going to say McDonald. Correct, isn't it?
Mike McDonald, yeah,
at the Seahawks. I always go for McDaniels and McDonald's.
I get him confused all the time.
And then they had Jesse Minter as well, and then obviously he went to go and play with the other Harbaugh. So they have struggled at the defense since they've swapped the coordinators around. I think Jim Harbaugh's is John Harbaugh. Sorry, is another.
You've done exactly what I do all the time as well. I can never remember which one it is. Yeah. Just the Harbaugh brother.
Yeah, I just think who are you getting that's better than him? Who are you getting that can do what he can do with an organization? I don't think it's sensible for them to move off of him. Once he gets Lamar back as well, what if they win if they win 7 games this year? It's fine, isn't it? For me, that's all right. They miss out on it 1 year, and then go again, have some better picks, and be stronger next year. I don't think they should move on from him.
Cincinnati Bengals, Andrew, Zach Taylor, 2 and 4 at the minute.
Yeah.
This is one I was very, very keen on being in the hot seat at the start of the season. If in fact, all three of us were on that episode, if I recall.
Well, I think you may as well just let him finish the year and sack him. No, I mean, yeah, I think you were right. We said this, didn't we? We said when you it was your hot take for the year. If Burrow gets injured, then that'll be the reason that he keeps his job. But they're not very. Browning hasn't really worked. They have looked a bit better with Flacco, so he has done something about it. But I just don't think he's going to do enough. He's going to be on the hot seat, and they're going to be talking about it. So even if he turns it round and they look all right, I think he'll still go.
Has he done anything about it, or has the GM done something about it?
I'd like to hope it was a joint thing. No.
Well, I don't know, because I don't think he's very good at what he does. So I think it was probably the GM that's done it. So
possibly.
Houston Texans, Adam, DeMarco Ryan, or D'Amico Ryan. Sorry, not DeMarco.
Yeah,
Ryan, 2 and 3.
It's a weird one, isn't it? This one, because the offense has been really poor. But it kind of sort of like it came back to life a little bit. But it was up against the Ravens when they played in week 5. I think you keep him. The defense is really, really good. And I think it's just a few tweaks that are needed on the offense. Possibly a new offensive coordinator.
But Joe Mixon hasn't been there.
Another one.
Yeah, another one. I think they need another one. Just keep chucking offensive coordinators at it.
So Adam's fine for quarterback.
Oh, yeah, I say fire them. Get rid of all of them. Yeah, they're useless, honestly. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I think that you got to give D'Amico Ryans the time, and
he's had quite a bit of time though, Adam.
Has he? Because
he's had about what 2-3 years.
He was with Stroud, wasn't he? So it's like, is this the third year that Ryan's?
I think.
Yeah. So I feel like first year was very good. Second year was a down one, and this one it's. I feel like they've kind of put too much, sort of like they've gone too much into Joe Mixon is what I think the problem is there, and there's almost like too much money's been put into that, and thinking that he's going to be fit, and it just hasn't happened. So I'd keep him for the rest of this season. See what they do.
Seems like you're agreeing with that, Andrew. You're nodding your head.
I think the organisation as well. I think they're on board with him, building with him. It seems like they let some players go. They moved some O-line, so they knew they weren't going to be as good this year. So I think they're kind of under the understanding. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a down year, but we've got the right guy, so let's move forward. They made some nice picks in the draft with a lot of youngsters there now, so I think they can push on in the future. So I'd keep him around.
The 2 and 4 Las Vegas Raiders with Pete Carroll. That's to you, Andrew.
Oh, it's to me, isn't it?
Well,
it's a stick. I think they missed with the quarterback. I think that's their issue.
Oh, I really thought you were about to say they missed with the running back. Out on Ashton Genty after 6 weeks.
No, definitely not. I think they missed with the quarterback, and that's their problem. Still a good coach. I think they'll get that right eventually. I'm sticking with him.
He needs a minute, doesn't he, Adam? He's been out of the league for a year, 2 years now, was it? And then he's come back in. I think he needs a minute to get himself back adjusted.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine, and he will bring a culture to it as well. So it's like you want to keep him in there, and yeah, like Andrew said, the quarterback I think is probably where they've gone wrong. Yeah, give him a few bit longer.
Adam, Dallas Cowboys, Brian Schottenheimer, 2, 3, and 1. This is a weird one for me, like a real weird one.
I wouldn't get rid of him now. He's just started, isn't he? He's only been there this year, and I think that you wanna keep him in there. But I will come out and say that I think that the organisation has very much let this team down by hiring Matt Eberflus as defensive coordinator. And then I think the organisation has let Matt Eberflus down by trading away Micah Parsons. So
it's like the
I think-
Spider-Man meme when everyone's pointing.
a little bit. Yeah,
It's your fault. It's your fault. No, it's your fault.
It's been a bit of a balls up all round, to be honest. So I would keep him. I think you're actually seeing Dak is playing pretty well and almost
best
like
played in a long time.
Yeah, and I think that's you've got to give the head coach a bit of credit for that. So I think I'd keep him, see how he goes, and he's doing all right.
I'm gonna skip one on my list and go next, Andrew, with New Orleans Saints, Kellen Moore, 1 and 5.
Yeah, I'm sticking with him again. I think the Saints have been good. Spencer Rattler is playing at a decent level. We thought this team was going to be awful, and I think they're putting up a good fight in games. I think they're showing what I said that the Titans weren't. They're playing games. They're playing hard. They're playing football. So I'm keeping him around. I think you keep him around and you build around that because they look exciting to watch each week if you're a fan, knowing that you're going to be bad. If that makes sense, it's all you want. If you know you're going to be bad, if you can find a light in watching them, then I think
there's a way to lose.
Yeah.
There's a way to lose, isn't there? And they're losing in quite a stylish fashion in a way. Kellen Moore is bringing something. We knew he would, Adam, didn't we? Like he was a really great offensive coordinator for the Eagles, so I think we knew he was going to do something.
Yeah, I think he's done really well for them. I mean, look, you've got to understand this team is in absolute cap hell, and it's going to take forever for them to be able to get round and become competitive again. So, I think that this is something that you have to expect. But they're winning. They're giving it a try. Like every game, they are going out there really trying hard for him and doing really well. So yeah, you keep him. We just have to remember this next year at this time, because it's probably going to be not too dissimilar. It's going to take a few years for this to turn around for them. So,
well, I intentionally skipped a name because I wanted to
I
go to
wondered
Adam
why.
with the New York Giants, Brian Daboll, currently 2 and 4, hot seat, safe space.
Did I
with
get
the Jackson?
This is Adam.
No, it's
It's me. You be quiet over there, you Giants fan. Honestly, I tell you. I think you keep him. I think it would be crazy to get rid of him now that you've just turned over to Jackson Dart. And the whole point of keeping him and keeping Shane as general manager was that they hadn't been able to draft their quarterback. Now they've reached the point where very early on in the season they have pivoted to the quarterback. So you've got to let it play out. You can't do anything else. And I think that you have to give them time with the new quarterback and see them develop and see how it goes. So I would keep him. And I think the idea of getting rid of him would just be going round in circles and doing something so stupid. So watch him do it.
I can imagine that's pretty much your sentiment as well, Andrew, being the Giants fan you are. It would be silly at this point. It'd be silly.
Yeah, I think if it continues the way it's going with Dart, then you've got to say that he's done a good job, because he didn't.
Let's see what the record's like for the rest of the season first.
Well, I don't think the record
start
needs
throwing
to be
around
good,
adjectives like good.
The record doesn't need to be fantastic.
No, it doesn't. No.
If Dart looks good and looks like you can move forward with him as a franchise quarterback, he's done a good job. Because he's picked the right guy and they've drafted well. The Cam Scatterby looks great, and they've got again, they're another team now for me. I'm now, as a fan, excited to watch my team play. I want to turn on the telly. I want to see how it's going. If win or lose. When I watched them play the Saints, I was like, wow, there was a lot of mistakes in that, but I enjoyed watching it, which last year I did not. It was unwatchable. So there's a lot to like about this, and you, like Adam said with his ethos, you don't want to be sacking him and getting someone in to then go, Jackson Dart isn't the way I play football. And I think we're seeing you know, when we look at the likes of Drake May and how much he's kicked on now, and the aspects of what Dart has looked like, I think you've got to follow those two closely as a career. Where was May last year? Where's Dart this year? And then see where you can then go with that, because I think they're on a similar trajectory with the style of play. So, and where they came in and who they had with them. So I think John Mara as well, he doesn't want to be searching for another head coach GM combo again. So I think he might stick with them and give them a bit more time again.
Okay, well, to finish this off, Andrew, Arizona Cardinals, Jonathan Glennon, 2-4.
I mean, he was another one I thought shouldn't be around. Surprised that he kept his job. I don't know. They looked better, didn't they, without Kyler Murray as their quarterback? And that was a take we had, wasn't it, at the start of the season? There'd be a big clear out here. Kyler Murray be gone and Gannon be gone as well. So, I think they'll keep him for the rest of the year. And then I think it might be time to shake hands and I think it'll be probably a Joe Brady that they go after, won't it?
I think mass clear out's pending for them. Mass clear out. Kyler, the works.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like that. Punching your players is never a great sign.
Great look. But not that I condone that at all. But what are you playing at on the goal line there? Like he should be chewed out. He should be chewed out for that, of course. But I don't condone the hitting him, of course. I don't.
Yeah, but it's not a great start. It's not, it doesn't look great, and being fined by the team rather than the NFL. Maybe now that could be that the NFL pushed it, but that also doesn't look great. I kind of agree with you. The whole thing with it's not really working with Kyler Murray. It all kind of feels like it's going to be a bit nothingy this season, and it's like, how many years do you want to keep going down that route? Which I think it's probably time for him to move on. Just quickly, any other teams? Because I know you've done all the losing record teams, but I didn't know if anyone felt that any of the ones that would actually were on borrowed time, despite the fact had a winning record.
I mean, we know how I feel about Mike Tomlin. But it's going well.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to bring him up that you wanted him gone then. I was
no, it's going well, but I'm just saying that he's one that suddenly capitulated now.
I think Sean McDermott's on the hot seat.
Interesting.
I think he's got to be on the hot seat. I know they've only lost 2 games, but he doesn't seem to be able to get the team right every year. We were saying, me and Adam had a conversation 3 weeks ago, and we looked at their schedule and went, can you see them losing a game? And we were like, do you know what? They could go unbeaten. And they've lost 2 games now and didn't play great in either of those games. And we said that this year for the Bills, it was kind of Super Bowl or bust, wasn't it, for them? If the championship game would still be good, but I think he's got to be on the hot seat if it continues this way, because it's the same story every single year. He can't quite get over the hurdle, and this team doesn't seem to be able to get the O-line right. It doesn't seem it's now not great on defense, and we're saying that the secondary is not good again, and it's the same story, and it seems to have plateaued. So I think he might be on the hot seat. Or the warm seat. I don't know what you want to call it.
The warm seat. The warm seat. For our final topic for this evening, it is getting very close to the trade deadline. I actually asked Sean Payton about this after the game. I actually said, it's coming close to the trade deadline. Would you be open to making some calls? And he said, it got a bit of a laugh because he sort of laughed himself at it. He said, we're always open to take the calls and to listen and to improve and to see where we're at with everything. So I think we should throw out some players, throw out some trade scenarios with us, have a bit of a debate on it. I don't think we need to sort of list out who we have, where we think, if that's what you guys would be comfortable with.
Sure.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I've got my one when I was looking at it, Trey Hendrickson. I think 1 year, 30 million deal at Cincinnati, ends this year. It's been so it's turbulent with Cincinnati and him over the last few seasons and getting this contract and everything like that. And I think a really great place for him to go would be the Patriots, the New England Patriots. They're mid-range in the sacks and hurries and quarterback pressures at the minute. They've clearly got something going on there. They've got the money. They've got a lot of cap room still to work with. They've got a couple of thirds and fourths that I think they could play with Hendrickson. I don't think he goes for anything more than thirds and fourths, to be honest with you. And they could sign him to 2-3 year deal, and he can. It's not working with Keon White. It feels like at the Patriots at the minute. I think this would be a really good move. Hendrickson becomes the main guy there. They suddenly have a lot more pressure on that defense. Their secondary is pretty decent at the Patriots. We know what their offense can do. They've got this culture with Vrabel, like we said. I think you could notably mention the 49ers or the Chiefs could be interested in that with the injury to Bosa. The Chiefs, I think, need a little bit more magic on that edge as well. I know. What do you think to that?
I've never thought Patriots in my head when I was thinking edge rushers. I think 49ers has always been my...
Yeah.
I kind of went through it as which teams need to trade for someone to kick on. So I picked my teams first and then chose a player to kind of who would fit there. And 49ers was a team I was like, they need help because they've lost Bosa and now Warner. They need help maybe getting some bit more pressure. So I was like, my counter to this
is that I think the division, as you've just duly noted with the Bills, actually, is up for grabs here. And they could win the division, and it puts them in a good spot in that playoff spot. I'm not saying they go to the FC Championship, but it gets you into a good spot there where you start to, you can maybe kick on. But any given Sunday when it comes to the playoffs, isn't it? They could push on here. And I think you tie up the contract for 2-3 years. You've got an absolute wrecking ball on the edge. You've got a guy, I feel like he's a guy also that he plays for Mike Vrabel. He's flying the Vrabel flag. He's the voice of Vrabel within that defense as well. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? I think he's... And look, I think the Patriots is certainly one place that he could fall. I mean, that does make sense. They do need a bit of help there. But I must admit, I have, purely because of the injuries, I would have always gone 49ers as my sort of like my main thought. But I think that
would you say with the 49ers though, is that we trade for him now, his deal runs out at the end of the year? Do they sign him to a 2-year deal? Like I think if he moves, he wants that 2-3 year deal.
It'd be a 1 year deal.
The 49ers do it.
Yeah, it'd be a 1 year deal because the 49ers won't be able to afford.
But I don't think he wants that. He doesn't want that. He wants to be in one place, I think.
He wasn't the name that I had for the 49ers. I thought they'd probably more go down a Jalen Phillips sort of Bradley Chubb route. But it was just when I looked at a team that needed edge, that's where I had.
Well, let's go down that route with Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb because again, two players that are. It's been a lot in social media today that they are on that block. So is it just the 49ers that you think could go for either of them, or is there other teams do you think that could be sniffing around them? Because Jalen Phillips very, very young still. Bradley Chubb a little bit, in my opinion, past it. But
I mean, I would say it's the same teams. I think it's just that thing where it's like because you need edge rushers, it doesn't really change. I mean, the difference is that obviously it would be unlikely, or you would think it would be unlikely, that the Dolphins would be willing to trade to the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that's what would stop that from happening. But yeah, I mean the 49ers, I think Dallas obviously because of if I know they're not in a particularly strong position at the moment, but they're a team that they've got rid of Micah Parsons. You got to think that they're going to probably want to bring someone in, so they could go down for one of these edge rushers as well. Possibly Detroit. I feel like you've got Aiden Hutchinson on one side, but the other side hasn't been that fantastic, and maybe that will help as well. And I feel like Hutchinson's been good. I mean, he's been amazing considering the injury that he had, but it's like he's not been as good as what he was before the injury yet because it's going to take him time. So I think there's another team that could go down that route. Yeah, I mean, any of them. I feel like it's the same. These are the teams that are desperately looking for edge rusher help, aren't they?
What about on the offensive side, Andrew? Who do you think might be in the market to get moved?
I think the Chargers will be in the market for offensive line help. I think I know they're going to get Joe Alt back, but I think they definitely need to explore the market of depth with that, because that's the core of their team now, isn't it? That O-line, run game, protecting Herbert. That's kind of like what you think about when you think about the Chargers. Needs to be a real strong O-line. I think they'll definitely be in the market. I know a lot of people have said they might be in the market for another running back, but I feel like Hampton coming back in 4 or 5 weeks, and how well Vidal did as well. I think more O-line for them is a must, and it needs to happen like now as well. I think Joe Alt might be back in next week, couple of weeks, something like that. But I think they need to get something now. I think you're looking at teams that are struggling. I think you go and tap the Browns up for one of their guys, or I don't think Miami.
In Wyatt Teller or Joe Bitonio.
Joe Bitonio is the one for me. I think he's filled in at tackle before, back in 2018. So he's done that. He's an emergency tackle if needed. But he's definitely going to shore up and can play across the line. So I just think depth for them at O-line is a must.
I know, Adam, but you're thinking there might be a few moves in New Orleans. Because of cap space. We know I feel it's because of cap space. It's not because of talent, I'd say.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I mean, some of these players are really, really good. Good players, aren't they? It's just that they've reached a point where it's like they need to sort things out. And Alvin Kamara is one that it feels like should be moved on, considering his age as a running back. Now I know that he's come out and says that he wants to retire there, but to be brutally honest, that's not that's it doesn't matter, does it? It's like that's not how it works in this industry, sort of thing. It's like you can't just get what you want. And a team that obviously he's been linked to a lot is the Kansas City Chiefs, and that makes an awful lot of sense, because when you look at how Pacheco and Kareem Hunt have been, they haven't really done much. I mean, Mahomes is the leading rusher, isn't he? Still, I mean, that's crazy for that team. So I think that makes an awful lot of sense. You've got a couple of wide receivers in Chris Olave and in Rashid Shaheed, who I think could both do a job in different places. We've spoken before about the Bills are interested. I think that there are quite a few teams that.
There's 3 teams that are interested in Olave.
Well, right, okay. Who are the others? Do you know the others?
Yeah, the Giants apparently interested in Olave. They want to give Jackson Dart the best opportunity he can to succeed. So I've heard that the Giants are in the market for a wide receiver. I've heard a couple of names rumbling about, but that is one of them. And I've also heard the Steelers also might be in for Olave as well.
So that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Because
not the area that I think we should be doing, but
well, I mean, I think the thing is that where the Steelers are at the moment is that they've got DK Metcalf, who's like right up here when it comes to the wide receiver room, and then there's not a lot. I mean, Calvin Austin does bits and stuff like that, but
outside of DK,
no, it's like
it's 3 tight ends and Metcalf.
Yeah. So
I just think one player that when we talk about the Saints within that is Alvin Kamara, and I think the narrative has totally been the Chiefs.
Yeah.
When you look at it, we're 31st in rushing. Like, I think we should be going for a running back myself. And I wouldn't want Alvin Kamara personally. Personally, I would look towards New York Jets and look at Breece Hall, who's in his last year of his rookie deal, and think about him. That's what I would go. I mean, we haven't got loads of cap space, admittedly, but we were saying about opportunity earlier. I said about the Patriots' opportunity to win this division with Hendrickson to push on. Isn't this the all or nothing year for the Steelers after this offseason? With Ramsey, with Metcalf, with Rodgers? This is all or nothing. So we're 31st in rushing, with Jalen Warren, who's been injured as well. Kenneth Gainwell was sublime in Dublin, admittedly, but that was just one game. Like, come on, that's not Kenneth Gainwell's game. Caleb Johnson, our draftee, has been a dramatic bust at the minute. I think the Steelers should be looking at Hall or Kamara. And I think
you got Rogers completing like 70+% completion percentage. So let him throw. You maybe you're not a running team anymore. Maybe you're a throwing team.
But we have to be a bit better in the running than what we do. I don't believe that, honestly. I honestly don't believe that. I think under Ralph Smith, I know we've got Aaron Rodgers, but we've also got to manage Aaron Rodgers as well. We've got to manage his load as well. When it comes to December and he's been throwing that much, come on, we need to do something about it. And it flips a little bit with obviously we said about the wide receiver as well, DK Metcalf, the 3 tight ends. I agree on that as well. I think we should go for a Shaheed over Olave personally. I think Olave and Metcalf are sort of a little bit similar. But
no.
DK Metcalf's just a bigger Olave in my brain.
No, DK Metcalf's like an X-receiver, like on the outside, big-bodied guy. You throwing the ball to him. Olave can play out the slot, and he's a get the ball
I think
and then
Shaheed's
let him
better
do
in that
stuff.
spot, though.
Huh?
Shaheed's better at stretching the field.
Yeah, Shaheed's an over the top like speedster, isn't he? I think Olave's a get him the ball sort of in the mid-range, so he'll play out the slot a bit more. So yeah, I think it offers you something different and another target.
Do you think if the Chiefs were to trade for a running back that Hunt or Pacheco is involved within that trade? Going the other way?
Potentially.
Do you think? I don't know. I suppose it depends.
Maybe that's a bit fantasy football of me, but
I
just when I was looking at it, thinking, well, then you would have Pacheco, Hunt, and Brees Hall, or bang.
I think
Kamara
you'd be more likely to drop one of them, to be honest, or trade one of them to a different team.
Potentially, I just think if you went the other way, if Brees Hall was to go from the Jets, who do you have next? What is it? Isaiah Davis? The lad behind him?
There wouldn't be much. Yeah, I mean, it's possible.
You get Kareem Hunt for a year. A decent, Pacheco's still 26, but has that injury proneness. I know Hunt's at the aging in his career, but then the Jets and the Saints, for that matter, could go in the draft. And even though Kendre Miller, is it Kendre Miller? Who came in, he was pretty okay.
Pretty good.
Exactly. They could rely on Kendre Miller. The Jets, I don't think, would rely on Isaiah Davis. I think they would probably want something, or maybe go out and they get someone or sign someone off the street, as opposed to who's a free agent at the minute who could maybe fill in, I suppose.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of veteran tight ends that could move as well.
Mark Andrews.
I think David Njoku potentially could move. They've just brought in Harold Fanning, who's looked really good at the Browns. So I think that you could see Njoku go. I know he's injured at the moment, but Andrews, I think, go. I don't have any specific teams for him, but I think
I've got one. I've got one team who I actually put Chigs Okonkwo, who I know is not veteran. I think he could be someone who could look to be on the move for that.
Yeah, same logic.
He's a bit older. Same logic. But the team for me was the Jags, to be honest.
Brendan Strange is out.
Yeah.
Brendan Strange is out. They got another guy in there. Brendan Strange was pretty good, but then they could have that duo. I mean, they've got I think the Chargers and the Rams could think about it as well. To be honest, the Rams, their tight ends get injured quite a bit. Higby's not been on the field all that much.
I think the Chargers could look at a tight end.
The Rams?
Yeah, equally. The Rams need to go after a cornerback, don't they? It's corner help they need. I think they will definitely be in the trade market. I think maybe Rasul Douglas, someone like that, they'll go after. I think cornerbacks where they'll look at the trade market. There is another one that I called it in. I think it was about week 2 because I know we're running out of time, and I put it in our group chat, and then I got mocked for it. But I said AJ Brown to the Patriots, and
I don't think that's ridiculous.
What you on about? He wants out of there, doesn't he? It's about time they freed him and let him go.
Freed him.
Yeah, they're not using him right.
Why haven't they used him right, do we think?
Because they're a run-first team, and Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback, and he's only good. He's only great when the run game is really, really good. So I just don't think Jalen Hurts can get him the ball the way that a great quarterback could.
And he seems. Is it? I mean, I don't know. I haven't got the targets in front of me between.
He's
him
had
and
loads of
Devontae
targets
Smith,
recently because they just keep abandoning the run game early doors and just going, yeah, let's just try and ply him with the ball because he asks for more of the ball, but they're not delivering it to him in the right way. You know, didn't he have like 5 receptions for 40 yards in one of the games? It's like, you're not using AJ Brown correctly there. Freddie, why don't you get the Ole Miss set up and just have DK and AJ Brown?
I mean, I would love that. I would be so pleased with that. That'd be insane. I mean, I played down that I didn't want Chris. I would love Chris Olave. Of course, I'd love Chris Olave, and I'd like Rashid Shaheed as well. I mean, the thing when you said about the Bills, I would see the Bills looking at someone like AJ Brown as well, or Chris Olave. But I think Khalil Shakir's like Rashid Shaheed in a way. I think they're a little bit too similar in that sort of style. So yeah, I certainly wouldn't mind AJ Brown. Free AJ Brown out of Philadelphia. Even though, like he's had a really bad time winning a Super Bowl ring there.
Wow, yeah. He said it wasn't about. He said it's his legacy more than the Super Bowl. So he wants the stats.
A bit of a me over we scenario. That sounds like a Steeler player, to be fair. We had one of them in Antonio Brown many years ago. Andrew, Adam, thank you very much for joining me this evening, and thank you anybody and everybody who has been watching or listening to this show. Make sure you find us on YouTube and like and subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms and podcast platforms as well. We have the college show back this week with Andrew and Alex, and the betting show with Adam and Andrew coming this weekend. So you make sure you check them out. Again, thank you for watching or listening, and we'll see you again very soon.